Hello. So in today's class, we are going to start module 3 of instrumentation systems. In this module, we need to cover two topics, shaft power measurements and pressure and sound measurements. So first part, we will deal with the power measurement devices, that is transducers, and in second half, pressure and sound measurements. So at first, let us move on to shaft power measurements. Dynamometer is a device that is used for measuring mechanical force power transmitted by a rotating shaft. And as we know, the power is a product of torque and angular speed. All the power measuring dynamometers can also be treated as a torque measuring devices. Also, in such cases, the shaft speed can be measured separately. The type of dynamometer employed depends somewhat on the nature of the machine that we need to be tested. Now, if the machine that is to be tested is a power generator, then the dynamometer must be capable of absorbing the power from the machine. That is, the dynamometer used in such cases should be a power absorber. And if the machine that is to be tested is a power absorber, then the dynamometer used or the shaft power measurement device that we are using in such cases should be capable of driving the machine. And in third case, if the machine is a power transmitter or a transformer, then the dynamometer that we are using for testing such machines should provide both the power source and the load. That is, in such cases, the dynamometer must be capable of both absorbing as well as driving the machine. Normally, for building such a dynamometer, we use DC machines because DC machines can act both as a generator or as a motor. That is, generator will generate the power or it will act as a power source, whereas the motor will act as a power absorber. Okay, so the DC machine, if you are employing as a dynamometer, then it can act in both cases. That is, whether the machine is a power absorber or the machine is a power generator. In both cases, we can use the same testing dynamometer. That is, the same DC machine testing dynamometer we can use. So, in such cases, when the machine is employed as a generator, that is when the DC machine is employed as a generator, then the generated power is dissipated in the resistance grid or we can recover it for further use. The DC dynamometer can also be adjusted to provide any torque from 0 to the maximum design value for speeds from 0 to some base speed value of the machine. At this speed, that is at this base speed, the maximum torque develops the maximum design horsepower. Okay, and at the speeds above the base speed, the torque must be progressively reduced so as to maintain the horsepower less than the design maximum. This controllability nature of DC dynamometer will allow it to use in modern equipments and modern speed control devices, speed controlling methods, programming applications and all. We can use DC machines because the controllability range of this DC machines is high. Okay. Now, next let us move on to two type of dynamometers, that is transmission dynamometers and absorption dynamometers. Okay, this I have told just before, and here the transmission dynamometers will utilize the devices that measure the torque in terms of elastic twist of the shaft or of a special torque meter that is inserted between the sections of the shaft. And the torque produced in such cases is produced by useful load that the prime mover, motor or machine is carrying. Absorption dynamometers is the second type of dynamometer and it will produce torque they measure by creating a constant resistance to the turning of the shaft by either mechanical friction, fluid friction, or electromagnetic induction. And so an example for mechanical friction is Prony brake, and the other one by fluid friction. The example for that is water brake. And in each case, the element that exerts the restraining influence is freely cradled so that its tendency to rotate with the rotating body can be stopped there, and that resisting force or arresting force can be measured at a known distance from the axis of rotation. The torque is the product of spring load or weight and the distance from the axis of rotation. Next, let us move on to servo dynamometer, that is servo controlled dynamometer. Here you can see the figure of the servo controlled dynamometer. So here you can see a dynamometer, engine throttle control, dynamometer speed control, tachometer generator, load cell, and a tape recorder and a comparators. In the tape recorders, the tape recordings of engine torque and speed, which is measured under actual driving conditions for an automobile, are recorded in this. That is, the actual condition values are recorded inside the tape recorder, and we are controlling this whole system so that the driving conditions during the driving of this system, where if any variation is present from the actual conditions which is recorded inside this, then that error will be corrected by this feedback system. So this is a feedback control system. So here you can see the torque is, that is the driving torque is obtained from the load cell. Load cell output, you can obtain the actual driving torque, the present torque. Okay, and the desired torque is obtained from the tape recorder, and this is compared in this comparator, and the torque error, if any torque difference is there from the desired torque, then it will be the output from this comparator, and it is given to engine throttle control, and this engine throttle control output will correct the torque error. Similarly, the speed during the driving conditions or the present speed is taken from a tachometer, and the tachometer output is given to the comparator, and inside the comparator the desired speed and the actual speed is compared, and if any speed error or any change is there from the desired speed, then that speed error is given as a feedback to dynamometer speed control block, and this will correct the speed, that is it will produce necessary compensating signals which is given to the dynamometer so that the speed is corrected there. So this is the automated control of a servo control dynamometer. So here both the system, that is both this torque and speed control systems, will operate simultaneously and continuously to force this engine speed and the torque to follow the tape recorder commands. So that is about servo control dynamometer. Next, let us move on to other type of dynamometers, which is given in this figure. First one, you can see absorption dynamometer, and then you can see instantaneous power measurement here, which we have explained in a minor form as a servo control dynamometer. And in this case, you can see an alternator power measurement. This is also a type of power measurement. So first one, absorption dynamometer. The dynamometers that are capable of only absorbing power is known as absorption dynamometer, and this include eddy current brake. Here this one is eddy current brake and this one is Prony brake. And this Prony brake is a mechanical brake. Okay. Okay, whereas this one is eddy current brake is an inductor type brake. That is, it is an inductor dynamometer. There is also other type of brakes, air and water brakes, which is working on basis of fluid friction. Okay, so the eddy current brake is easily controllable by varying the DC input. This is the DC control. Current control is given here, and this eddy current brake has a DC input. So by this DC input, it is easily controllable, but it cannot produce any torque at zero speed, and only small torque it can produce at very low speed. But however, it is capable of high power and speed production than the DC dynamometer. The power it is absorbed is carried away by cooling water circulated through the air gap between the rotor and stator. Okay, between this rotor and stator, the water is circulated, and the power absorbed by this is carried away by this cooling water. And the next one is Prony brake. It is a simple mechanical brake in which the friction torque is manually adjusted by varying the normal force with a hand wheel. Here you can see this is the hand wheel here. This is the hand wheel, and by adjusting the hand wheel, the brake, that is the brake's frictional torque can be manually adjusted in the system. And the torque is available at zero speed, but operation of this type of brake will be jerky. Jerks will be there during the operation because of the dry friction operation. It is a dry brake, no water or fluid is present, so this is a dry friction based brake, mechanical brake. So due to that, the operation may be jerky in this Prony brake. Next type of absorption dynamometer is water and air brake. The figure of those are not given, but in such brakes, the rotating action or the churning action of the paddle wheels or vanes rotating inside a fluid filled cabin or a casing will absorb power in such brake. And in such cases, the flow of air or water through the device is maintained for cooling purposes. And no torque is available at zero speed in such case, and only small torques are available at low speed. Okay, similar to the eddy current brake. The high speed and high power can be handled well by such brakes. That is, air and water brake can handle more speed and more power. But there is some water brakes that is rated at 10,000 HP at 30,000 rotations per minute and all. So in all the till now what and all power measurement devices or transducers or dynamometer which we have discussed all have torque and speed measurement is done separately, and the power is calculated manually. And this type of calculation can be made automatically. That is, we can make it self-sufficient, or automatically we can calculate the power also along with the torque and speed measurement. And depend upon that, there is two type of power measurement: instantaneous power measurement and alternator power measurement. That is, for that automatic measurement of power, what we need to do, we need to just multiply the torque and the speed which we have already measured. So this multiplication, or this is the basic operation here, and this can be accomplished physically by many methods. And one of the method is the use of bridge circuit. So this is the bridge circuit. Here you can see 4 resistance connected in corner to corner. This is the bridge circuit, and this is the rotating shaft. So this is the figure of the measurement, total oral measurement Here the speed is measured by this tachometer, DC tachometer generator, and the output of this tachometer generator is a DC voltage, and this voltage is applied as the excitation voltage of a strain gauge load cell. This is the strain gauge load cell, and the load cell is used to measure the torque. And this the bridge output is directly proportional to this excitation voltage. This excitation voltage, the bridge output is directly proportional to this excitation voltage, and is also it is proportional to the torque. Torque is the output of the load cell. Okay, so this output voltage, that is E naught. E naught is actually an instantaneous power signal. If we can measure this instantaneous power signal or this E naught by some ways, then we can calculate the power. So this is one method of direct measurement of or automatic measurement of power from the system itself. If we are not using such systems, that is bridge circuit or strain gauge load cell and all, then we may need to individually calculate the speed or torque separately, and then we need to multiply it to obtain the power. So that difficulty can be avoided if we are recording this output excitation voltage at each instance. Whenever we require, we can detect or we can measure this instantaneous output voltage, and which will be directly proportional to the instantaneous power signal. Now, another solution to this automatic power measurement, it is the given in this figure, that is alternator power measurement. Here, a torsion bar. This is the torsion bar. The center shaft like bar is known as torsion bar, and this is carrying the torque that is to be measured here. Okay, and this has a permanent magnet AC generator. AC generator, that is alternator. Here is alternator 1. This is alternator 2. So this torsion bar is carrying AC generators on the either side of it. Okay, it is coupled to each other. These two generators are coupled to each other by this torsion bar. And each of this alternator will put an AC voltage which has an amplitude proportional to shaft speed or the frequency equal to the shaft speed. Okay. Now, when this torsion bar is unloaded, the two alternator rotor stator positions are adjusted mechanically so that the AC output voltage of these two alternator are exactly out of phase. Okay. This is the case when this torsion bar is unloaded, that is no load is connected to it. When no load is connected to this shaft, then these two alternators rotor stator positions, we will adjust it mechanically so that the AC output voltage will be out of phase to each other. And now if the two alternators are connected in electrically series, if we are connecting both these alternators in a series manner, then the net output of these two alternators will be 0 at any shaft speed as long as no torque is present. When the shaft carries torque, that is when the shaft is loaded, then the shaft may twist or turn, and which will cause the phase shift between the output voltages of these two generators. So at first I have told, when the shaft is unloaded, then the output voltage will be having no phase shift. Similarly, when the shaft is loaded, then the output voltage will be having a phase shift from each other. And as a result, the net output voltage will be proportional to the product of the torque and the speed. So in each case, that is whatever be the cases, whether the shaft is loaded, unloaded or anything, then the output voltage, if it is in phase or out of phase, it will be proportional to the product of the torque and the speed. Okay, so this is the circuit diagram or equivalent circuit diagram of this thing. of the system. That is, this is the output voltage, and this is the integrating power, and this is the counter, that is total energy counter is here, and this here instantaneous power is given. Okay, so this is the main circuit and this is the equivalent circuit of this alternated based power measurement. So this is all about dynamometer based power measurement. So next topic is vibrating wire force transducer. These transducers are based on the principle that natural frequency of tensioned string will increases with tension. That is, the string may tend to vibrate, and the frequency of that vibrations may increase when the tension on the string get increased. Now, when that string is vibrating, the resonant frequency of the string and the tension in the string is given by, the relation is given by this formula, and this is the frequency omega, and this is the length of the string, this is the tension force, tensional force F, and this is the mass per unit length M1. So here, as the vibrations are very smooth vibrations, the omega or the frequency will vary very smoothly with respect to the tension. So as a result, we can consider this as an analog signal. But we can measure this frequency by conventional digital counters. So the transducer is also called as digital device in some cases. So in such cases, we are having a vibrating string, and we need to keep this vibrating string continuously vibrating itself. So for that, we may need in some cases a vibration exciting system that will act whenever the natural vibration ceases due to some delay in the tensioning force. So in such cases, we require a vibration exciting system in order to keep the wire vibrating, in order to make up the frictional losses and to maintain the wire vibration at a fixed amplitude itself. Okay, so the wires, here you can see the figure diagram of this system. These are the two vibrating wires here, vibrating wires. These are actually thin tapes of electrically conducting non-magnetic material. These wires are electrically conducting non-magnetic material, and these are actually placed in a field of permanent magnet. You can see two permanent magnets at the both sides of these wires, and these wires are connected to one end of a bridge circuit, and the bridge circuit output is given as an input to the amplifier, and the amplifier will amplify the signal of this bridge circuit output, which is actually this amplifier output is actually proportional to this vibration in the wire itself. So this amplifier signal is given to the digital counter, and digital counter counts the vibrations, and we will get the output. Okay. So here, for getting the output continuously or getting an accurate result, we need to keep this wire vibrating itself. So as this wires are placed in the field of a permanent magnet, these wires will act as both the velocity to voltage transducer, that is here velocity or vibration to force to voltage conversion is taking place here. So this acts as a velocity to voltage transducer, and also it acts as a current to force transducer. This whole system acts as a current to force transducer due to the feedback system, which will accept the oscillatory output current from the amplifier, and which will cause these wires vibrating itself, or it will provide a vibration exciting transverse forces. Okay, that is here two things are happening. That is, we are vibrating this, keeping this wire vibrating continuously by this bridge circuits and amplifier. So this wires actually act as a velocity to voltage transducer. Also this system act as a current to force transducer, and this current is here, the current to force, that force output is will keep this wire vibrating itself, or it is the opposing force to the delay that goes to the vibration. So, by proper design of this whole system, these feedback systems can maintain a constant amplitude wire vibration at a frequency determined by the force carried by the each wire. Okay, so this is a mass which is connected to the joint of both these wires, and this is another string which is connected to this point in order to keep this wire vibrating. So here two type of angles are coming, alpha and beta. So here this is the Fi, or the force from due to this wire. So if Fi increases here, then the tension on this string increases and the tension on this string reduces. Thereby we can control the tension on these springs by adjusting the value of Fi here. So this wire is actually a non-vibrating wire, and these wires are vibrating wires. So through this non-vibrating wire, we are providing a force proportional to Fi, and in order to make the output a signal, that is output signal is W omega 1 by omega 2. This is the output signal, digital counter output. And in order to make this output signal linear with the Fi, we need to provide a force through this non-vibrating wire. This is the working of this vibrating wire force transducer. This is the actually both electrical and mechanical systems are present in this system transducer. That is, this is the electrical part and this is the mechanical part, and this is the electronic digital part also, digital counter, by which we can obtain how much vibrations or how much force is present in the string. So that's all about this class. In the next session, let us move on to pressure and sound measurement.